I'm excited that he wants to reference it later. That's awesome. Yes. Yeah. Mateus had one too. What's your
12. Yeah, 13.
13. Well,
13. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, 12 and 13.
12 and 13.
Okay.
Those are my questions. So.
All right, let's go over these. Okay, so number 12, write the equation of a circle that passes through the points A, B, and C. All right, the way I taught this to find the equation for the circle ties into what we did last year in geometry. In geometry, we discovered that the intersection of the perpendicular bisectors of two chords, those perpendicular bisectors always intersect at the center. So that's the way we found the center, given 3 points. So what we had to do was come up with, okay, I'm going to say chord AB and chord BC. If I find the equation for the perpendicular bisectors of these two, then it will that intersection will give me the center.
You can't do AC?
Sure. You can do AC. You can do AB and AC. That's fine.
You can like.
Yeah.
C, F.
Well, there's
no F, so.
okay. You could do AC and BC. It really doesn't matter. So just pick two chords and find their perpendicular bisectors. So to find the perpendicular bisectors, we have a couple little steps. Midpoint, because it's perpendicular bisector. Bisector means it's going through the midpoint of that segment. Okay, it's cutting it in half, so we have to find the midpoint. So we've got A, B, so we're going to add them up, divide by 2. So negative 2 plus 2 is 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. 0 plus 8 is 8. Divided by 2 is 4. Okay, perpendicular bisector. Well, perpendicular lines, their slopes are opposite reciprocals. So if we find the slope of AB, then for a perpendicular line, it would be perpendicular to that. So the slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we get 8 over 4, which is 2. So a perpendicular slope would be negative 1/2. So now we have the equation for that perpendicular bisector because we know a point it passes through and we know its slope. When we know a point and a slope, we use point slope. And if we put this in slope-intercept form, we get y equals negative 1/2 x and move the 4 over plus 4. Okay, so we did that for AB. Now we go through the same steps for BC. Okay, so for BC, we're going to find the midpoint of B and C. So add them up, divide by 2. 7 divided by 2 is 7 halves. 7 divided by 2 is 7 halves. All right, got the midpoint. Now I need the slope of BC. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. I get negative 9 over 3, which is negative 3. So a line that is perpendicular to that would have a slope that is positive 1/3. So now we have a slope and we have a point, so we have an equation, y minus the y value equals the slope I just found times x minus the x value. Okay, you guys are allowed to use a calculator, so the little bit of math we're doing right here shouldn't trip you up.
Oh, thank God. Yes.
You are?
You are. I mean, this math isn't terrible, but...
Yeah.
Okay, so we would distribute, I'll show you what it looks like without a calculator. Distribute the 1/3, so you get 7/6. So when we add this to the other side, 7 halves with a denominator of 6 means I multiplied it by 3, so that's 21. That's not that bad. So we get y equals 1/3 x. This is 14/6, and 14/6 is the same as
7/3.
7/3. Okay, so now we have this equation, y equals negative 1/2 x plus 4. And we have this equation. So those are our perpendicular bisectors. and where they intersect will be the center. So, how do we find the intersection of two lines algebraically? Yes, ma'am. Set them equal to each other. Do a system. We'll use substitution. So we'll say negative 1/2 x plus 4 is equal to 1/3 x plus 7/3. You guys have calculators, so dealing with fractions won't bother you. I wouldn't pick up a calculator for this problem because the common denominator for 2 and 3 is 6, and I'd be done. I'd make all my denominators go away. And that's what we learned how to do last year in accelerated coordinate algebra. We learned how to clear. And if you didn't, then on your own time, you need to go back and fill in that gap if you'd like to continue to be successful in mathematics. Yes, sir?
Are you allowed to use decimals instead of fractions?
I wouldn't with a divide by 3 because that's a repeating decimal and you will get yourself in a lot of trouble. Okay, so on this one, let me extend this down and cover that up. We'll finish this up. So we move our variables to one side, our constants to the other, and we get 2 equals x. We plug back into the equation that looks simplest to us, which for me would be this one. So when we plug back in and we do negative 1/2 times 2, that's negative 1. And negative 1 plus 4 is 3. So my center is the point 2, 3. So it's x minus 2 squared, y minus 3 squared equals the radius squared. Okay, so our points on this were A was the point negative 2, 0. B was the point 2, 8. And C is the point 5, negative 1. And so we know it's going to pass through all of these points, so we can pick any of them and plug it in and find the radius. Whichever one makes you the happiest. Let's choose B. So 2 minus 2 plus 8 minus 3 is equal to r squared. So 0 plus 25 is r squared. So my equation is x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 25. So I know my center is the point 2, 3. We already discovered that. And my radius is a length of 5. Yes, ma'am.
For the fraction, you would have to use the denominator as a fraction.
Way back up here? Yes, I said you have your calculator, but this is not hard, so I probably wouldn't pick one up.
Well, I did that, I thought that completely wrong.
If you didn't leave it as fractions, if you changed them to decimals, then you would get a completely wrong answer because these fractions are exact, and if we switched it to decimals, we'd round. Did you get fractions? Then maybe you punched something in wrong. Because if all your work matches mine, you should have gotten this exact same thing here. I can come look at it in a
I
minute.
got that. It was like when I set them equal to each other,
Uh-huh.
it was all messed up.
Probably the fraction.
Okay, I'll look at it.
Can you do fractions on a calculator?
Yeah, there's a fraction key on your
Are you
calculator.
serious?
Make sure you have negative.
Wait. We do need to be strong in our skill set also.
Yeah.
Because there is a strong trend right now in college to not let you use a calculator at all.
No. Oh, wow. Wait. Please, for trigonometry.
So be very, don't just always depend on the calculator. Make your brain do some things
I
sometimes.
never
Okay?
I always feel like it's going to be wrong.
All right. Okay, so there's that one. Now,
I don't know if there's a fraction about
that is not a quick problem. Okay, so that will be on a day where there's not as many questions on the test. But if you don't know the steps and you're trying to figure it out as you go, then you're probably not going to finish that day. So make sure you understand what you're doing. As long as you understand the steps, you'll finish. Because I didn't put many questions on that day. I really didn't. But don't expect that you can come in here and try to figure out what to do. You need to know what to do. And I am confident in the people that have truly prepared this unit will be fine. If you have not, I have no confidence for you.
What do you mean by like truly good parents? Like,
If you did something other than copy somebody's homework right before I came in the door,
And
that was like one little problem that I wasn't sure about.
and then there was
in the
Friday
Oh,
when we weren't
Friday.
here and we didn't do that time
he went to the
either.
library and goes, oh, I'm just gonna copy it off.
I did not say that. She lied to you.
Matt, stop defending the last card.
Some of you are gonna be. I bet somebody in here aces this test.
Elena,
Alright, what they nominated you. Good.
Hayate,
Is that
Natalie,
Okay, so
Thank you. I need that.
whoever gets the highest score.
Alright. So this is what we just got.
Mathematician of the year.
So bad.
Yes, you will.
I have yet to ace it.
Yes.
You get a waiver.
I mean, yes. Is that A? Is that just an A? Or is that 100? Ace is 100. Ace is just an A? Oh,
Like, try and put it in.
Alright, so here we go.
I didn't put it in.
Let's pick one of these. I don't care which one. 1, 2, 3, or 4. You pick, I do.
3.
3.
We know that's one of them.
All do four.
So when it's like the greater than equal to is less than, didn't you say that like if it's outside the lines of tangency for the circle, it can also be?
Let's do a quick review. In the learning task you guys did in class that day, we discovered if we took the two smaller links and added them up, if it was equal to, then it made what kind of triangle? A right triangle. There were two parts to this lesson. That was one of them. Then we discovered that if you added them up and it was less than, it made an obtuse triangle. And then we discovered if we did this and it was greater than, it was acute. So that was one part of the little task we did. Now, separate from that, we said, okay, if we think about the equation for our circle, the x minus h squared plus the y minus k squared equals r squared. Separate from that, we said, okay, if we plug it in here, and we plug a point in, and this distance right here, whatever we get when we plug a point in, is equal to this, then we know it is on the circle.
Yes.
We said if this distance right here is less than this, it is inside. And everything that is inside the circle is obtuse. If we formed a triangle with the diameter. If we picked any point inside the circle and formed a triangle with the diameter, that would be an obtuse triangle. Okay? And then the last thing would be if we picked a point and plugged it into this equation for the circle, and that distance was greater than, then it was outside. Now, the thing about outside is there were three conditions. If it was outside between, let's see, can I spell? Between the tangents, then it was acute. If it was outside but on the tangents, it was right. Now, the diameter was no longer the hypotenuse of the triangle. It was that other segment. But it still would form a right triangle. And if it was outside, but outside the tangents, it was obtuse. So, in this case, if we got this one and we were asked about the type of triangle it would form, I'd have to give you a graph.
Okay.
Wouldn't I? Or if you guys were doing it, say on your review sheet, you pulled out the graph paper and sketched it, didn't you?
No.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did we
So-
have to do that? Because I
made
probably
one.
did, but I didn't. I have a question.
I just got lucky.
So that's why I was asking.
Okay. The other thing you could do for each one of these problems is do the distance formula 3 times.
Yeah, that's what I was.
You could do the distance formula 3 times.
That's what I did. Is that like a foolproof way?
And if you did the distance formula 3 times, then you'd be right here, wouldn't you?
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
Plus y minus y.
3 times.
Okay, but that just gives you the type of triangle. That doesn't tell you inside, outside, or on.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
Because it will tell you the.
As long as the diameter is the longest side.
So it should be smaller than the diameter.
Yeah. Okay, so on this one, if we just want to know if it's inside, outside, on, won't this part work?
Yeah.
Just that part. So we would take our x minus 2 squared plus y minus 3 squared equals 25 and plug in a point. If I plugged in, you guys pick 3, so if I plug in -1 and I plug in 7, well, it may not equal 25. That's what we want to see, how it compares. So we get -3 squared is 9, and 4 squared is 16. So this is equal to, isn't it? So this would be
On the circle.
One.
And it's a right. It's a right one.
on the circle, and therefore a right triangle.
So you had to.
Okay? Now, 4, which is what you asked for, this number over here is bigger than 25. So where would it be?
Outside.
Outside.
Wait,
Now,
it's-
this didn't ask what kind of triangle it made, did it? It just said inside, outside, on. So outside is good enough. You write outside, you're done. My directions are very specific. It may say what type of triangle is formed, or it may say you do not have to tell me what kind of triangle is formed.
So,
Okay? Yes.
Okay. Kind of going off that for like number 13, I
Yes.
guess the part C was outside. How is there a way you could figure out like what type of triangle it would be without graphing it?
The distance formula. You would do the distance formula, and you would notice that that diameter was not the longest side.
so it'd be a 2.
So, if you took the 2 smaller sides and did the sum of the squares of the 2 smaller, if that's equivalent to the square of the other, you would just, it would change what your A and B and C were. That's all that would happen on that one. Yes, ma'am.
If you gave us the points to make a circle, like, and we could figure out the circle, but then you gave us like points and asked them if they're inside, outside, or on, and then
Inside, outside, on, I do not have to give you a graph, because
Yeah.
you can just do this.
To extend onto that, if it was outside and then you asked us what type of triangle it was,
I would
then
give
would
you
we
a
give
graph.
a graph?
I'd give you a graph, yeah.
Okay.
I would. Okay. Any other questions? Good questions. All right. What's next?
13.
All right. 13. Okay. Can we pick your least favorite on 13 and do that one?
All of them?
C.
Every single one.
Okay, we're not doing every single one. So this one, it tells us that H and J, or this, they're endpoints of the diameter of a circle. Use the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. Well, does A squared plus B squared equal C squared. That is the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. But the converse would be taking those lengths, the A squared, the B squared, and the C squared, and seeing if it's equal to, greater than, or less than. Because that tells us about the type of triangle.
Like the first formulas that were that you showed us on number 12.
Right.
Okay.
Okay? So that would go back to the first part. So, do y'all want to just do it with the distance formula?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do it with the distance. So we're going to find the distance for HJ. Can we just call this point K?
Sure.
Okay? And then let's find the distance for HK. And then let's find the distance for JK. Okay? So the distance is the square root of the difference in your x's squared plus the difference in your y squared. So we get 6 is 36, plus 8 is 64. So this is the square root of 100, which is 10.
Can you just leave it?
Let's leave it as square root of 100.
So it's just easier.
Yeah, it is easier, I would agree. Okay, so now let's find HK. So we'll do 5 minus negative 1 squared plus negative 4 minus 7 squared. And so this gives us 6 squared is 36, 11 squared is 121. So this is the square root of 157.
121. Oh wait, what did you?
Did I not do something right?
Yeah, I got.
I did,
You did.
Oh, I did 5 minus 5.
No, or it should be 5 minus 5 equals 0. It should be 5 now.
This should be 1.
Yeah.
This should be 1.
7.
Sorry. That should be 1. I mixed it up. I'm doing H.
Yeah,
And
36
there.
plus 9.
So, okay, so this is plus,
9. Wait, it's still not right. It should be plus 1. No, it's plus 1.
Yeah.
It should be plus 1. It
So
should be
it's
plus 1
1,
since it's a
yeah.
negative.
okay.
Plus 9.
Woohoo. Do I get square root of 45? Good, I'm glad y'all can do it. Alright, so now we're doing J, and I'll circle it so I don't switch in between. So if we do 5 minus 5 squared plus 7 minus negative 4 squared, I get 0 and 121. So that's 121.
And then the 121.
So if I do the 2 smaller and compare that to the bigger. Is that what y'all did?
Mhm.
So this gives me 145 is greater than 121. So if it is greater than, what kind of triangle?
Acute.
Acute.
Outside.
So
Acute.
you-
Wouldn't it be outside of the triangle? Or out of the outside of the circle?
It is outside between the tangents. Yep. It is outside. Yes, sir.
If you did not do the distance formula, how would you find the set?
You would find out that it is outside the circle and you would want to graph it.
Is this the easiest way?
Yes, Mateus.
So to figure out if it's acute or obtuse when it's outside, you have to graph it.
Yes. Well, if you're using the circle instead of the distance formula, if you're going with this instead of doing the distance formula 3 times, you would have to graph it and look at where it is. It is in between the tangents.
What about
If it's in between acute, if it's on the tangent, right, outside the tangent, obtuse.
Oh. So the reason that
It's a very small part of your test, guys. So are there any major concepts? Because we've spent about 30 minutes on this tiny little, maybe one question on your
Like the
test.
tiniest part?
So
I have one more question.
the way to know that what c squared is the longest distance. So,
C squared is always the largest, yes.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
C is always the longest segment. Yes, sir.
So if you do the distance formula, how do you figure out if it's acute or obtuse? I have.
Okay, I just told you this.
I got it.
If it's equal to, it's right. If it's less than, it's obtuse. If it's greater than, it is
Okay.
acute. Okay? And these notes will be uploaded this afternoon, so if you need to print something. Okay, look at some of the major stuff left in the review packet, because we have eaten up some of our time. We got about 10 minutes left. Of some major topics that are left,
Can we go to the
Would you like
systems
16 or
page?
17?
yes, let's go to
tomorrow
the
morning.
systems page.
The back page.
Oh, and
You
for
want-
B
and
is
you
27.
said-
That's what I understood.
That's what we'll do.
You said 16 or 17? We
Can
can
we
do
do
17.
17 of those?
All right. 16 was a the only way to do 16 is substitution. It's not hard, but I've discovered we struggle with fractions. I'm going to do this one fast. Okay, here's something major. If you guys will know this tomorrow, we should have already known this about 2 units ago. When we expand this binomial, you square the first one. You double the product of the 2. You double the product of these 2, and you square the last. Okay? You have got to know that for tomorrow. It's not a kind of a sort of a. It's a we should have known it 8 weeks ago, but maybe we didn't do enough of it. In this unit, we've hit it hard again. So make sure tomorrow you are good. All right, since y is equal to this stuff, we can plug it in. Now, if you're afraid of fractions, you've got a calculator. You're still fine. Okay, if I square this, I square the first one, I double the product, I square the last one. I square the first one, I double the product. The product is 68 ninths. 4 times 17 is 68. 68 ninths. If I double that, I double the 68, so I get 136x over 9. And I square the last, 289 over 9. Now, if you looked at my answer key, that next step, every fraction disappeared. Because I will clear them every time.
Did you multiply by
Every fraction, every denominator is 9. So if I multiply both sides through by 9, they're gone. And I get 9x squared plus 36x plus 36 plus 16x squared plus 136x plus 289 is equal to 225, which is 25x squared minus 100x plus 100 when I set it equal to 0, because I always set a quadratic equal to 0 to solve it. Now, everybody should see a common factor of 25 just glaring at them. And then you should see, ooh, perfect square trinomial. This factors 2, x minus 2 squared. Guys, what would happen if I divide both sides by 25 right now?
Okay, 0.
It goes away.
That's why something makes so much easier. Then you take the square root, it's still 0.
So x has to be 2.
Yay.
Plug back into your simplest, and we end up, no, you can't plug back into the simplest. You must plug back into the line. Why?
Because you might go.
Because
Because we might get erroneous answers if we plug it into the circle. You must plug it into the equation of least degree. So it's got the smaller degree, yes. So it's got to go back into the line. When it goes back into the line, we get 8 thirds minus 17 thirds is negative 9 thirds, which is negative 3. So it intersects at the point 2, negative 3. Done.
I don't understand why you describe the relationship.
Okay, I've got a circle with a line that intersects it in exactly one point.
So it's just
So it must be tangent. The line must be tangent to the circle because it's exactly 1. Yes, Jay?
Can you read number 23 on the back, please?
Yeah, I'll do number 23. Oh, real quick, I'm not going to do this one, but I'm going to show you. Please do elimination. Change, change, change. Doesn't that go away?
Yeah.
And you end up with this, x plus. And then you just have to square this out, just like I said up here. Okay, Jake wants 23.
Okay, I learned how to do everything on it, and then when I check your answers, you get like a 0, and I don't know where you get the 0.
Okay, so did you use substitution?
I did.
Did you solve this one for y? What'd you do?
I said them equal to each other.
Okay, so you solved this one for y and set them equal to each other?
Yes.
Okay, so you got 2x plus 3 equals y when you solve this one for y.
Yes.
So now we have 2x plus 3 equal to 2x squared minus x plus 3. So a quadratic must be set equal to 0. So when we move this stuff over, that's what we get. There's a GCF.
There's x as a
Okay, so when we have this, guys, this product has to equal 0. So what could I plug in here that would make the product 0? 0. What could I plug in here? 3/2. That's where I get my 2x values. And we have to plug them back into here to find the y values that coordinate with them. Okay, this one, we got a negative number under the square root.
That
Which, that means no solution. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have
Trying
time
to
to
figure
do
out what's gonna stare at it for 30 minutes and those.
or go make concepts and
Hey, 37 is a lot of review from the last unit. It is a parabola. It opens down. If we want to find the time that the ball and the bird reach the same height, that is a system that we would solve. Where do they intersect? So we'd say 0.75 t is equal to negative 4.9 t squared
Equals that, right?
plus 20t.
So I guess
And then
that's
you
the
could say
equation.
0 equals negative 4.9 t squared
T times
plus
4.9 squared
19.25 t.
equals that.
And then you would have to factor out
Back, I guess.
a negative 4.9 t right here. And then that would leave me t minus 19.25 divided by 4.9. 3.92? Okay?
Yeah.
So t is either 0 right here or 3.92.
I don't understand.
It's 928, so it would be 93.
I'm not sure we did for part B.
Yeah, B
Doubled
hit
4.9.
19.
I
You
didn't
just
know
find
why you did
the-
that.
4.9
Like,
because
how
it's
did- yeah, I
the
don't
maximum
understand
height,
why.
that's what I'm finding.
Yeah, you solve for the time and plug it back
And then
in.
you add
Yeah.
0.75.
We could go back to doing negative b over 2a and get the x at the vertex and plug back in and you get the y.
Oh, so negative.
So negative b
Negative 20.
over
20 over
2 times negative 4.9. This is just last unit.
Gotcha. That's
So the x is about 2.04. So you plug 2.04 back in and you get the height is negative 4.9 times 2.04 squared plus 20 times 2.04. That's,
Why don't we just
Thank you.
you're welcome. Yes, sir.
For letter A, I didn't factor out the 4.9, but I
Gotcha.
still that's the right answer.
Okay, so you just took out the t, so when you solved it, you divided by 4.9, that's fine.
Alright.
That's fine. You eventually divided by 4.9. You just didn't factor it out. Totally fine.
Okay, we can.
You're welcome.